As a human being in this life, there is nothing that has the power to completely make or break you as much as relationships. But where many people miss it in relationships is the failure to understand at a very fundamental level that human relationships are supposed to be symbiotic. Very simple terms, it takes two to tango. I will never forget a very interesting experience that I witnessed firsthand. It's how that many years ago, one of my mom's friends came to our house while my dad was still alive. Everybody knew how much of lovebirds my parents were. So this particular friend of my mom was asking my dad that, I see how you pamper Cynthia, right? That means you're a good husband. I see how you take care of my friend. She's always happy. Can you please advise my husband to also do the same? And my dad said, no, you're asking the wrong question. The question is, can you do what Cynthia does for me that is making me treat Cynthia the way that I treat her? I was very young when this thing happened, so I didn't understand the depth of everything my dad was talking about. But as I advanced in age and became a man, I understood everything he was saying perfectly. You know when two people genuinely like each other. That was the kind of marriage that they had, right? But it didn't just happen based on wishful thinking. There were things that they were doing for each other, right? First off, it was as though my mom used jazz on my dad. And the reason is very simple. There was an attitude she brought to that relationship that is rare. My dad never entered an airplane all his life. Not because he couldn't afford to. He just didn't want to. It was just not his thing. My dad was a very strange man. But my mom, as of 2006, when she took my brother and I to our first international trip, my mom had done business in so many different countries, right? But then when she came back to the house, there was no question who the leader of the house was. She didn't see herself as too big to do her wifely duties. My dad would not want her to do anything. He would say, we have a house help. Why are you still going to cook? My mom would insist that she wants to cook for him. She would do things to please him, right? The submissiveness was never in question. My dad died 2015. A year before he died in 2014, my dad sat me down, right? One of the days I came back from school. He sat me down and he told me, Onyeka, if not for your mother, number one, I will not be alive. If I'm alive for some reason, I'll be in the village. I said, Daddy, how? He said that my mom is the only reason he has hope to bounce back. Is the only reason he has any will in him to fight. Because life beats him down, right? My dad made a lot of money in his late 20s, early 30s. Built a house in the village. Typical Anambra man. But then the government made a policy, right, that messed up his business. He went from 100 to 0, became jobless at some point. But do you know what my mom was doing those periods of time? My mom started reinforcing his masculinity, because my mom was the sole provider for a long time. Till my dad even died, she still was the major provider in the family, right? But she didn't let us know. In my school, we needed to show the bank teller to prove that you've paid your school fees. My mom will pay our school fees and give my dad the teller. Call my brother and I and tell us, Daddy paid for your school fees. Go and take the teller from your dad. This is the reason why he could go to war. He refused to stay idle. Even when his business crashed, he went to her business and started supporting her in her business, pushing her work until he started getting little deals here and there to bounce back before he died. I'm sharing this story because this weekend marks the 10th anniversary of my dad's death, and in my family, we use it to celebrate the love that my mom and my dad shared. I made my mom a promise that as long as I'm alive, the love story of her and my dad will be shared across the world. And to my utmost surprise this morning, I saw that a man that I respect with everything in me shared the story of my mom and dad on his massive platform. I want you to watch the video yourself.
And one of the times I was chilling, I was scrolling, and I found someone who ironically had been blessed by our ministry years ago. I didn't even know that because I sent him a message on his birthday and he told me that. And he said something very profound. And I'm not one to be easily impressed, but what he said really touched me. His name is Victor. So he said, if he told you that he was born into privilege, you would think his parents had a lot of money, and they didn't. He was referring to a different kind of privilege. He said he was born into a home of love, like active love. Like his dad will ask him to write love letters to his mom, and not in the early years of their marriage, but still he died. Like the dad would say in Igbo, this is why I sent you to school, to know English more than me. There are few things that are greater than the fact that someone was born in an environment of love.